Hello, everybody. Welcome to Targeting Winners Heisman Trophy preview. Looking ahead, we're about 5 or 6 months away from college football, but we're still going to talk about it. We're still going to play some bets. Peter, how is El Playo de Mexico?
I've only got 2 weeks left. I'm in El Playo de Michigan. So, I'm enjoying the last bit of it as much as I can in the warm weather before I go back up there and freeze my ass off. So, yeah.
All right. Darren, the sleep-deprived Darren. How are you?
Good.
You awake? Wake up.
I'm awake. I just wanted you, Tim, you shared a comment with one of our listeners who said that Pete and I had very drab backgrounds on the last show. So I just want you to know I'm back in the room.
Yeah.
My daughter's home watching the puppy. So, Pete, hang a picture or something, draw a chalk outline of a murdered drug lord. Just put something up there so that people know you're like
in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my guy Eddie from Orange City. I'll get a framed picture of Eddie. I'll put it on my wall behind me, so I'll capture him up there.
All right. So in 2 weeks, Eddie Pete will have something in his background. He's not in prison. He's doing all right.
All right. Well, we did national championship last time. We're doing a Heisman this time. Of course, there was an event last week, so we may have a lean for national championship. We got to go back a little bit. If you're watching us on YouTube, thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But Alabama has historically always won a national championship after Tiger Woods is involved in a car accident. So do with that information with what you will. We now have a lean towards Alabama. We can't argue the science. So
can we confirm nor deny that his ex-wife was chasing him with a golf club this time? Are we sure? Yes? No? Maybe?
No, I think she's counting her money somewhere. So I'm sure she's fine.
I did see somebody post on Twitter that of all people, Tiger Woods should know the importance of having a good driver.
Yes, he should.
Yeah. Okay.
The man can afford a driver, too. Why is he driving himself?
He says it's a privacy issue.
A privacy issue. Mobsters drive around with private drivers.
Yeah, because getting in car accidents every 18 months is a really good way to stay private. But just get the help you need, bro. Get back on the golf course, take care of yourself, and hire a driver.
Hire a driver. Jesus.
All right. Well, boys, it's Heisman time. Let's get started. Darren, what are some of your thoughts going into the year?
Yeah, so, we talked about the national championship market 2 weeks ago, and I asked you guys, what is the main factor you guys look at before you start digging a little bit deeper into if you want to bet in this market. Just looking at a little past Heisman history, 21 of the last 25 winners have been quarterbacks. The fewest amount of wins for any Heisman winner in the last 25 years has been 9. So I guess my question to you guys, do you just kind of look at the odds board, cross off anybody in the top 20 or 30 that's not a QB, figure out what their win total is and be like, okay, I'm going to start with this list and break it down from there? Or is there something else that you guys do? Because, I mean, we have had 2 wide receivers win it in the last 6 years, but we haven't had a running back since 2015, I think, when Derrick Henry won it. And I just took a quick peek at the board. There's not a running back in like the top 30. And honestly, even if there was, after the year Ashton Genty had 2 years ago, I mean, video game numbers, Boise State gets a bye in the playoff and he doesn't win. Even if there was a running back that had a decent shot, I don't know why you would even bet one. But, Pete, I'll start with you. Anything else you look at besides QB, lots of wins, or is that pretty much your starting point?
I mean, you hit the major factors. Number one, a quarterback's going to win. This has become the annual quarterback award. I would not go anywhere but quarterback unless there was some absolute superstar and it was a down year across the board for quarterback somehow, which is not the case here. Wins are important. But I also think just publicity, being out there is important. The team's got to be visible. The team's got to be in big games. The team's got to be on TV. You mentioned the wins, but you can't be on a team that's not getting on television. You can't be on a team that's not getting pub. That will hurt you as well. So that is a big factor. But yeah, I think you hit the major ones. It's got to be somebody who people know, right? I mean, if it's somebody who's just playing out in the West, I mean, West Coast hurts, which is we're going to talk about our selections here and where that could be a little bit of an issue. Maybe not so much for the one pick we're going to talk about, but The West Coast can be a bit of a problem with guys out there simply because they're not getting the same visibility as guys out east. So that could be an issue as well. Schedule comes into play, certainly. That's where some of the wins factor in. But yeah, it's got to be somebody who, I mean, certainly that visibility can hurt you as well. I mean, look at some people like Arch last year, people like that who immediately, disappeared off the map. So, but yeah, I think those are the major factors.
Tim, what about you? I mean, besides crossing off everybody representing the University of Miami and going from there, I mean, is there
right? Yeah, well, obviously, that goes without saying. No, we're going to talk about one of those guys here. I learned the hard way a couple of years ago. I had the right team, but the wrong player. I think the voters are attracted by the big, shiny, flashy thing. So if there's a player, a non-quarterback that does more than one thing very, very well, that could be something we'll talk about. I had Shedeur Sanders a couple of years ago. It was his teammate, because he played cornerback, he played receiver, he returned kicks. So if it's not a quarterback, it's got to be somebody flashy. Again, I'd stay away from the running back because they're not flashy, really. I mean, they run fast, and Barry Sanders it'd have to be in order to win, and there's only one Barry Sanders. So I'm staying away from running backs. I look for flashy receivers or the old standard quarterback. I don't know about you guys, but that's a safe bet for me.
Yeah, pretty much what you guys said. The one thing I will say, and Pete did mention the schedule, I kind of look and see who's got the big games in November. You've got around 900 people voting on this thing. God knows what the hell they're thinking about half the time. But it seems to me that some of these people would be more likely to remember a QB, say, winning a big home game that gets his team into the conference championship, or goes in and pulls an upset on the road in November, maybe more than they would say, like this week 1 game, Texas and Ohio State. All right, well, it's non-conference, still a gigantic game, but week 1, 2 good defenses. Maybe the stats aren't there for even the winning quarterback. So I'm looking QB, lots of wins, but I want to see some big games in November because I think that's kind of when you get an idea of who's going.
Right. All right. So should we jump right into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's start.
Everybody on this.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, we'll get to it as we go. But I tried to eliminate as much of these people and come up with somewhat valid reasons to why I'm eliminating these people. We'll get into that as we go through the guys. But yeah, Let's start with the receivers because there are 2 that can certainly bring this trophy home.
Here's one from the aforementioned Miami Hurricanes, Malachi Toney, Mr. Swiss Army Knife. He's the flashy one. I think he returns punts. I don't think he returns kickoffs. He receives. He has receiving stats, rushing stats. I think he had 2 passing touchdowns last year. So he even does that. That's not even on here. So if this is one thing that could be a possible play, not for me. But I know how you guys think about Mr. Toney.
Yeah, from my side, he's going to need quarterback play, right? It's going to be linked to how the quarterback plays and getting him the ball. But still, he can't be one-dimensional. It can't be, even if he has a monster year as a receiver, it's still not going to get him the Heisman, right? He's got to do something else. He would have to have a monster year as a returner. Like to your point earlier, Tim, if you're going to win and you're not a quarterback, you've got to be a multi-dimensional player, usually offense and defense. But if you're not that, then you've got to be one of these guys that is a potential big-time returner in the NFL, potentially in the future, that kind of guy. So if he can do that and show that, because those plays are flashy. Those plays get you on ESPN. Right? Those are the things that, will capture some voters. So you want to see those returns. So it's possible, but I don't know if he's going to do enough to really drive himself above the QBs on this list. But interesting. He'll be a great player this year for sure.
Darren?
Yeah, I think those are odd. I thought it was plus 3,000.
I just noticed that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because one of the things I was going to say, we were looking at the 2 receivers. I like him a lot better because his number is a lot higher. But the one thing I do like about him over Jeremiah Smith, you see there on the right side, Tim. So that was awesome putting that up there. I mean, the 23 carries.
Yeah.
I could see him maybe having 35 to 40 carries this year. Remember, they're losing 4 people on that offensive line. And until that unit gels, if it ever does, I mean, that dude's going to be the fastest player on the field in a lot of games this year. So, we love us some jet sweeps and end arounds, but he has those receiving stats, assuming Mensa lives up to the billing and gets another 5, 6 rushing touchdowns. I like him better than Jeremiah Smith because of that run factor and special teams play that he gives Miami. But the one thing that leads me away from him and Jeremiah Smith, who we'll talk about in a minute, if you looked at that odds board that Tim had up earlier, not only are these two receivers on there thank you, in the top 14, so are their quarterbacks. So if you're a voter, do the votes split? You say, oh, well, Julian Sayin had a great year. Well, yeah, that's because Jeremiah Smith caught everything thrown at him. Well, Jeremiah Smith had, all these receptions and 19 touchdowns. Well, yeah, that's because Julian Sayin had a great year. You can say the same thing about Darian Mensah and Malachi Toney. So those 4 guys, I kind of eliminated right off the bat because I could see a scenario, like I said, with all the people voting, some people are going to lean the quarterback, other people are going to lean the wide receiver. And I think when you start tallying all those votes, that kind of negates any gains that they could have when they tally these things. So I kind of kicked off all 4 of those guys, but if I had to choose a non-QB, I would choose Malachi Toney.
Any thoughts, Peter?
Well, no, I mean, I agree. I think the issue is when you have 2 players of that caliber on the same team, especially on the offense, and one is a quarterback and the other is a skilled position player, and they rely on each other so much, more than likely that vote is going to be split, right? And that's going to be an issue. If they both have a monster year, it's hard to argue who is driving one more. Clearly, unless the quarterback is a monster year for and they're driving everybody, fine. But yeah, I think it's going to be an issue for obviously for this player, but also for the next one we're going to talk about here. So
I'll just put that up from one of my favorite teams to hate to your favorite team to hate, Jeremiah Smith. Pete, we'll let you go first on this one, then we'll send it over to Darren.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going, right? I mean, Darren covered it with the 2 players on one team, right? With Sayin here. Going to be an issue. I mean, obviously, a team I love to hate. I'm not going to hate on Jeremiah Smith. He's a fantastic player. He's going to be a really good player in the NFL. I mean, he might be the best player in America. Period. Like the best college football player. Period. He's an amazing talent. That said, I don't think he's going to win the Heisman. Right? Sayin's there, and I just think it's a quarterback. Once again, we talked about it before. It leans toward quarterback. So he can have an amazing year, and be a top 5 pick for sure in the draft, and still he's not going to win the Heisman. So I don't see that happening. Although I hope he doesn't have an amazing year. It's going to hurt Michigan, but I do think he will. It wouldn't bother me to see him win the Heisman. I can hate Ohio State all day long, but something like this, like a single player of that caliber winning the Heisman, I could be happy for the guy. So I would not mind seeing that. I just can't. I just don't see it happening with Sayin on the team as well.
All right, Darren.
Yeah, and one of the things we talked about when we were breaking down Ohio State on the national championship show, Julian Sayin is one of quite a few quarterbacks that we're looking to see some improvement this upcoming season. And a lot of these guys, quarterbacks I'm talking about, played great against teams that they should play great against. But you saw at the end of the season, mustered up 10 points against Indiana in the Big Ten title game. I mean, that pick 6 for Miami, I mean, dude never even saw this cornerback coming. He just right in, jumped over the pass. Thank you. Like was meant to go to that guy all along. If he doesn't improve his play, that's going to hurt Jeremiah Smith. Yeah. And much like Malachi Toney's got Mark Fletcher in the backfield, Jeremiah Smith's got Bo Jackson. Could potentially take away some touchdowns from him. So, yeah, I agree with Pete that I don't think he's going to win. Again, I would prefer Toney over him, but I'm not touching either receiver here.
All right. From teams we hate to a team that one of us roots for. Oddly enough, there's no Florida State players on this show today, but we do have one from the Fighting Marcus Freemans. Darren, the floor is yours. CJ Carr.
Yeah. Okay. At that low a number, I'm not taking him to win this. Could he? Yeah, certainly. That schedule stinks. If he beats Miami, those odds are going to plummet, assuming they didn't lose to BYU a few weeks before that. I still think this is a run-first team. I mean, you're bringing in like one receiver that had, had over 100 yards, is returning. It's basically a whole new receiving core. That's going to take some time. I think they're a run for his team. The more I read about Aeneas Williams, I think he could be the real deal. He's not going to be a Jeremiah Love, but he does not need to be. Yeah, I just don't know if, I mean, the wins will be there, the good play will be there, but again, he's the favorite at some books. I never want to pick a favorite when, we're talking about a futures market. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes in second, but I just don't know if he's going to put up the gaudy stats to get it done. But like Pete said, he will get the coverage. I mean, hell, they got their own TV network for crying out loud. So everything is there for him. I think it's still going to be a run heavy team. I just think they're going to get such big leads. I don't see a scenario where he's chucking it around like crazy in the fourth quarter, stat padding, but I mean, I'll be happy for him if he wins because that's my team. But at that low number and a whole new receiver room, I'm gonna respectfully pass.
Hitter.
Yeah, for him, I don't know if he needs to be flashy, right? This is Notre Dame. When's the last Notre Dame quarterback to win the Heisman? And think of the backing and the people that, I mean, who was it? Was it? Who was the last quarterback? I mean, from Notre Dame, it's been a long freaking time, right? But this team had massive national backing, right? There's certainly kind of a pending demand for this team to do something and for a kind of a status quarterback to come out of this university. So that certainly, I think the stage is set for the guy. Right? You mentioned the network, and certainly, if this guy is even partially lighting it up. He doesn't have to light it up. If he's leading his team like just a leader in a way that is clearly evident, right? And especially if he's if he comes back, if he brings them back, if they're down, if he just does some of these things that a true leader can do as a quarterback, I think he'll remain near the top of the list. And he just needs something signature later in the year. And if he can do something signature later in the year, and somebody else isn't just setting the world on fire. I mean, this is an and if play, right? Maybe somebody else setting the world on fire, then no, he's not going to win. But, if everybody else is kind of doing their thing, I think it's entirely possible. I mean, he's a safe play. He's got a strong supporting cast. He's definitely going to be a leader on this team. I mean, the price isn't great. I wouldn't bet it because the price is not great. But could he win? I would not be surprised at all. And I think he'll have a lot of support and votes to do so if he has a really good year, which I think he very well could. So I wouldn't be shocked. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
And one thing I want to just hop on that before we go to the next guy or get Tim's thoughts. You talked about, late in the year, he needs that big moment. Well, that Miami game is November 7th. There's still 3 weeks of college football after that. And outside of a home game against SMU, like the 20th or the 21st, they don't have anything. I mean, there's a lot of other guys on this list who are going to be battling for conference championships. He doesn't get the opportunity to play an extra game there either. But I mean, I agree with everything you said, but if that Miami game were maybe 2 weeks later and he was still putting up those stats and he goes out there and gets his revenge, yeah, I agree with you. I could certainly see it because that game might be hyped up a day or so
a little bit
before kickoff. Maybe, I don't know.
I might watch Catholic First Convict shirt.
Dude, the 30 for 30 on that is very interesting.
It's incredible.
It is very good. It's really good.
Rick Meyer, he won the Heisman, didn't he?
I'm going back. I did answer my question. 1960s was the last time that
I was thinking Paul Hornung or somebody like that.
Paul Hornung was 56.
Okay.
John Huerta in 1964 was the last quarterback that won. Then obviously Tim Brown.
Brown. Okay, I thought Rick Meyer won it. I know he did. Anyway, who cares? It's Notre Dame. Moving on. Your boy's nephew, Peter. We got Arch Manning.
Oh, boy.
Pretty impressive stats last year. Darren, we'll start with you. Any thoughts on Arch?
Yeah, I like Arch. I like somebody with a higher number, but he's got everything that I would look for in a bet, despite 9-1 odds. His team's projected to win 9.5. His schedule is brutal. There is a ton of talent around this dude. Texas did a great job with the portal, mainly getting Cam Coleman. A couple running backs they added to that room. The November schedule, he's got a couple big games at LSU and at A&M. dude performs well in those 2 games, here's your winner. Hate to say it because I don't want to bet anybody below 10-1, but
Right.
he was the one. He was the one young quarterback, the first year quarterback that actually steadily improved over like the last half of the season. We saw a lot of guys that just didn't get there for one reason or another. He did not start out great, and granted, there was so much hype; it was unfair. I could care less about Texas, to be honest with you, unless I'm betting them. But he really did pick up his game late October and all through November. So I'm ready for the hype train to happen all over again, but at least this time I think it's warranted because there are signs that, yeah, he's definitely taken a step in the right direction. He's got the run game, and he's got an awesome team around him. This would not surprise me if he gets it this year. But again, 9-1, don't want it. But then again, if you think he's going to do it and you think they host Ohio State in week 1 and you think he's going to win, bet it now. Because if Texas beats Ohio State week 1, he's going to be 5.
That's going to drop.
Yeah. So if you like him and you think Texas is going to take down the Buckeyes week 1, get it. Just do it now.
Any other thoughts, Peter?
I mean, yeah, he was in a tough situation last year. I mean, first-time starter, and he had a tough start to the year. Those expectations were ridiculous and through the roof. And obviously, he didn't meet them, but nobody was going to meet those expectations. That was ridiculous. But to Derek's point, I mean, this is a guy who steadily improved through the year. And by the end of the year, he was looking like the guy we thought he was going to be. And this is a guy surrounded by talent. I mean, to me, this is his to lose at the end of the day. There's he's in a perfect position on the right team with the right coach who's going to get a ton. I talk about publicity and big games and being on TV and all that. He's got all that set up for him. Like, you're going to see Arch all year long. So if it's all positive Arch highlights and him just lighting stuff up, which he certainly can do, and he's a dual threat, right? If he's getting the legs going and all that, I mean, it's in the bag. The guy's going to win it. I mean, especially if this team rolls into the playoff. I can't imagine him not winning it. He's the number 1, so he would have to do something to come off of that. So I really don't see that happening. The price is too short to bet it. So unless he gets injured or something, not something bad happens to the guy, unfortunately, but if he continues on his trajectory of what he was doing last year through the year, he's going to have a fantastic year. And watch out for Texas then, because that team is going to be really.
Yeah, especially with the NIL money. This is for the foreseeable future. Texas will be there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, a Mississippi judge ruled that Trinidad Chambliss can play. He's back. He's also at plus 900 with Ole Miss. I think we started with Darren last time. Peter, any thoughts with Trinidad Chambliss at plus 900?
Yeah, I mean, that price is short. I mean, that feels like last year's story here being priced at this year's odds. I mean, a proven production guy, right? And look at the stats right in front of you right there. I mean, those are quality stats. A guy who's likely going to perform. So I would expect you to see something similar again. Obviously, exposure with the SEC will help as well. I worry about volatility with his play and volatility with the team. Right, that would be my bigger concern, is volatility with this team. Right, this is a team that's obviously changing and transitioning here a bit, and I'm not sure what that turns into. So that could be a bit of an issue for Trinidad. That said, excellent player. I expect he will play well this year. But once again, he's in a conference in the SEC with some other people who are probably like Arch that we just talked about. How can you, if you're not even the best quarterback in your conference, you're not going to win the Heisman, right? And so that to me, that's kind of the issue for him. But once again, Arch would have to step back for that to happen. But Trinidad's going to have a great year. I just worry about the volatility with Ole Miss itself. So that's my concern with him.
Darren.
Yeah, I'm down a little bit on Ole Miss as a team this year. I think they were, obviously riding the high of we're going to show Lane Kiffin what he missed out on. I think there is something to that. I think they certainly played motivated. My concern is they've got a typical SEC schedule. Okay. And, so they got a ton of tough games. End of October, early November, they've got Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma in there 3 out of 4 weeks. the win total is only sitting at 7.5. So I don't know. The odds makers really aren't expecting a lot. And I already talked to you guys before we recorded. I'm short on sleep for reasons we won't get into. But does anybody look at this guy and be like, okay, you were an FCS quarterback last year. The only reason you played is because somebody got hurt. Now there's film on you. Do defenses adjust to him? And maybe he's not as great as he was last year. This is one of the, not any part of it. So I'm trying to think, well, why do I want to dismiss him at 9-1? The schedule's tough. Again, FCS guy this time last year. And again, I talked about the timing of the schedule. While they start out November with that Georgia and Oklahoma game, their last two games are against Wofford and Mississippi State. I mean, is anybody really going to give you credit for smoking those two schools, at the back end of your schedule? I mean, you might not even be in contention for the SEC title game well before November even starts. So
got that big game early September.
Is that your Florida State boys? Is that they're playing?
No, your LSU.
Yeah, that's
Pete and I will be. Yeah, Pete and I will be just cursing back and forth for a solid 3.5 hours that day. But yeah, I mean the number's too short for me, and I don't like the last couple weeks of his schedule. Yeah, he can certainly pad his stats, but like Pete said, there's a ton of solid quarterbacks in this conference alone. Not even talking about Big Ten and the other two Power 4 conferences. But like you said, if you're not playing in your conference title game, you're probably not going to get a second look. So this number's too short. Yeah, if he was like 15-1, 18-1, yeah, maybe I would consider it. But 9-1, that's last year's performance easily baked in. And that number, not a fan. And I'm not high on Ole Miss. So another reason I'm avoiding this guy.
I think last year was their shot, Sometimes
I mean, their defense wasn't great, but now Pete Golding's got to do the head coaching thing, and he's still calling defensive plays, apparently. And he's got to do it for a full year. Yep. And he's had some extra games. So people have extra tape on him and what he likes to run. So it's possible that if the defense looks any better, he is definitely going to be forced to put up the stats. But, let me see if you can do it a second year. And at 9-1, no, sir, don't like it.
All right, we're going to move on. Now we're getting into our territory over plus 1,000. We got plus 1,200 down Timor of Oregon. This is actually one of my bets here. I got, I think Oregon's a stat factory. Last year at 30 touchdowns. Looking at his schedule, I would pull that up on the screen here. He could get that touchdown total up a lot closer to 40, if not 40. I wouldn't be surprised. Tough road game at USC. And a tough road game at Ohio State. The other road games are winnable. The rest are at home. Oklahoma State, Boise State. Washington's always a shootout. Maybe Illinois, see what they do. But I can see this, if he can cut down the interceptions to single digits, get the touchdown total up. Dan Lanning isn't shy about dropping 40 on somebody. So I could see just cranking out numbers every week. And there's your flash. Even though it's on the West Coast, there'll be a lot of flash here. I don't know what you guys think. Darren, go with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is my bet as well. You take a look at that schedule, and you're just kind of like, well, yeah, all right, Ohio State, Michigan. But if you dig a little deeper, there's a lot of teams in the Big Ten that I think that are going to be improved. We talk about how the SEC top to bottom might be like the best conference in the Big Ten, so like top heavy 3 teams or so. I think the Big Ten is catching up, man. I think USC will still be a good offensive club if their defense is still terrible. That Boise Oak, that first 4 games, Dante Moore can have 40 touchdowns by then. I mean, those defenses are prime for Heisman padding numbers. But UCLA is going to be better with Chesney. Nebraska should be a little bit better. And I'm not really sold on Illinois, but Brett Bielema's a good coach. He'll probably have Illinois.
It's on the road, too.
Northwestern should be a little bit better. Ohio State's going to be good. I'm high on Michigan. Sorry, Pete. Don't mean to jinx you. And I love Washington. So this is not like an easy, Big Ten schedule. And Vegas has Oregon's win total at 10.5. Only slight plus money to the over. So he's going to get the wins. He's going to get the stats. Look at that November schedule. Ohio State, Michigan, and Washington. 2 of those are at, I mean, he doesn't have to go in and beat Ohio State, but like Tim said, he can't go in there and throw 3 interceptions. If it's a close game, and even if they lose, if they have a good showing, I think at the very least he's going to New York. So yeah, at 12-1 with that schedule, especially that back end of the schedule. Yep, there we go, baby. Quack quack, mother.
That's right. Darren, any final thoughts on Dante Moore?
Love him, bet him, run to your sports book.
Right, Peter.
Yeah, you know what? So for the Natty show, I really kicked around Oregon as a potential bet, and I didn't. For this show, I really kicked around Dante Moore, and I didn't. And I walked by somebody 2 days ago with a Ducks jersey on the Malecon down here in Mexico. So that's 3 things that say, go bet them both right now. Go bet Dante, go bet Oregon. They're going to win it. He's going to win the Heisman. It's in the bag. Clearly, the Matrix is telling me something that I'm not listening to. So, no, I mean, Dante's a fantastic player. That was where I was going to go originally, and I didn't. And especially when I knew you guys were going to bet it. But the whole West Coast thing, when I was talking about the West Coast, I think is a bit of an exception because he's in the Big Ten and he's coming out East a lot, and he's playing, Big Ten teams. He's playing Michigan, he's playing Ohio State, he's playing these teams where he's going to get TV coverage with big audiences back out East. So Oregon doesn't qualify as one of those teams and guys that's lost out in the West. So he's absolutely going to get the coverage, and I think he's going to be a beast. So as they both said, everybody, go bet Dante, go bet Oregon. It's in a bag.
I got to ask, Pete, because I see on here, did you bump into the guy with the Oregon jersey on the way to buy your Chardonnay or whatever it is you're drinking there? Nothing says gridiron tough guy football like sipping your exciting white here.
I'm sipping an exciting white from that with my new ink that I got in Mexico, which you can't see very well.
Oh, boy.
And no, it was actually a female that was like 25 years old wearing that Ducks jersey out in the Pelican. So I was like, okay, this is I don't know. Matrix is speaking to me.
We should have led with that. So yeah.
So I think that I'm going to have to go bet those anyway because I think something's telling me to bet them.
So yeah, you're going full narco terrorist now with the ink.
You got
so we got the right. Another one of your boys here. People start with you, Julian, saying another one at plus 1200.
Yeah, I mean, we started to talk about it earlier, right? I mean, it's the problem for him. I think he's going to have a very good year. Problem for him is he's got another guy on his team that is also on this list. And that's generally you don't help each other with that. Yeah, you'll help each other win. You'll help the team, but you're not going to help each other in terms of an individual award like this. You're likely to take something away from each other. So I think that's going to be the issue. Plus, to be honest, I mean, the way he played in the playoffs last year, he's got to improve. I mean, he was completely outclassed. He was completely outclassed in that playoff game. He was not nearly as good as the competition. So he's got to be better than that. That was not a Heisman Trophy winner playing that game. So if he's not better than that, then he shouldn't win the thing anyway. But I assume he's going to be. I assume that he will continue to improve through this year. I expect the team to be good, but I am not sold that he's a guy that you can just lean on to carry you. And I would expect a Heisman Trophy winner quarterback that you can do that. And I'm not sure he's that guy, honestly. He's just in a system and a team with a coach that's a machine, and it works for him. I don't think you could pull him out and go stick him on some other team and he'd be on this list. Actually, or if he would be, he'd be way down the list. That's my position on him. I just don't think individually. I'm honestly not sure he's an NFL quarterback. That's my perspective.
Okay.
So
hot take. There we go. Darren.
Yeah, I agree with everything Pete said. I have nothing to add.
Oh boy. Yes,
sorry.
I like that take.
I know that was a hot take right there, but he's Pete's 100% right.
And you got to sip your Chardonnay when you make your signature.
That's right.
How about peach iced tea? That's what I have. I've been hitting like caffeine like crazy.
That's a poor man's Chardonnay. There we go.
Hey,
next
I have 2 children in college. I'm a poor man. What do you want me to do?
That's right. Got another one at plus 1200. Josh Hoover joining the defending national champions at Indiana. Darren went with Pete last time. Want to start us off with Josh Hoover?
Would it be just a cop out to say I don't see him giving it to 2 Indiana quarterbacks back-to-back years? Yeah,
Enough
I don't
said.
really want to roll with that though, because that seems kind of lame. But I mean, I think this guy is going to be a product of the Indiana system. I mean, you look at that there, those 13 picks. If you put that up at 2024, there was also double-digit picks in that year as well. To be fair, he did have to carry a lot of TCU offensively. He does love to sling the ball around, so picks are going to happen. I don't think he's going to be asked to do nearly as much as he had to do at TCU, and I don't know if the stats will be there. I think Indiana, they're just going to focus on controlling the ball, not turn it over. They know Josh loves to turn it over, so I think he's just going to get a little less on his plate, at least to start. But 12-1 is again that's too short. I mean, their schedule's not. I mean, wrote down some of the tough games. I mean, they host USC in November. They go to Washington. I mean, there's no real. They've got Ohio State, Michigan, USC, and Washington. Those are pretty much their big four games. I don't know if there's enough good games for him to shine in where he's going to get the votes to even go to New York, much less win. And honestly, I don't think they're going to give it to Indiana player 2 years in a row. And I think Pete, you and I both agree. I don't think we're really high on Indiana. I think on our national title show, we're like, no, it's too hard to repeat. They lost too much. Tim knows from Mike Norvell, just because the portal works one year doesn't mean it always works every single year. So, a lot of his James Madison guys have probably graduated or are playing in the NFL. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying Indiana's going to be 4-8, but I mean, they're not going 16-0.
They're not.
You got your Florida State dig in before the end of the show. You happy? You get that out of your system?
No, not really. I'm tired.
Okay.
I'm going on like 3.5 hours of sleep.
Okay. All right, now we got a Duke transfer going down to the U. So we got Darian Mensah. He's also at plus 1,200. Got a lot of those here in a little log jam. Peter, let's start with you. He's heading down to Miami.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, or at least we touched on it a little bit earlier, right? So, I mean, I think he's going to perform well there. I mean, I think clearly the speed and the talent on that team is hard to argue with, right? This is a team that, procures talent, right? They have speed, they have talent, and he's going to have players around him that can run, and so it should serve him well. I would expect to see him play well this year. I don't know if I'm sold on him being a true Heisman candidate. I mean, those odds to me are just, I don't know, 12-1. That doesn't feel right to me. I would never take that. I mean, if it was 20-1 or something, maybe. I don't know. That's just a lot of hopes and dreams to me. I mean, yeah, you're going to a program that should support the man. He's got a lot of talent on the team, clearly. He himself is quite talented, but I just don't see it. I mean, I spent some time looking. I mean, the offense is explosive. He's got upside for sure, but is he going to transform into what I would expect him to need to be a Heisman winner at Miami? And the answer, I think, is no. I don't see that happening. So, yeah,
I think Tony will outshine him.
Yeah, I agree.
Outflash him. So,
I agree.
Darren, any thoughts on Darian Mensah?
Don't like him. And I'll say this, and I don't know if you have a Brendan Sorsby slide, but I'm going to kind of lump these two together as a reason. We talked about one of the things we look at, big games. You need to have a handful of big games, to really get yourself out there. I mean, they'll get the notoriety. They'll get the pub because they were in the national championship game last year. But, you look at Miami's schedule outside of the Notre Dame game. I mean, is there really a big game on that schedule? Trick question. The answer is no. If you look at the ACC odds, all right, Miami is the favorite to win this conference at minus 135. The second choice is 7-1. All right, and it's something similar with Texas Tech if we get to Sorsby. So if you're expected to win 11 games, maybe 12, what if you slip up?
No.
I mean, we were all in Orlando last October, and we saw Carson Beck throw 4 picks at home. Okay, actually 5. One got overturned because of a Louisville penalty. One bad game. He's okay. Well, who did Miami play this year? Oh, nobody. Oh, he lost to Team A. I don't want to say it's like a single elimination thing for guys like Mensah and Sorsby, but it kind of is. I mean, you got all these other teams in the Big Ten and the SEC playing brutal games week in and week out, especially when you hit, November. Yeah, and this guy and Sorsby have these cupcake schedules, but they're expected to win 11 or 12 games. I just think if they don't, or let's say they're a 24-point favorite against somebody, he throws 2 TDs, 2 picks, and they win by 4. Is that impressive enough for this guy to get votes to even show up in New York? I don't think so. So, and again, we talked about Malachi Tony. I would rather vote Malachi Tony than this guy if I had to make a bet here. But I think they'll take votes away from each other. I don't think that schedule is there. I mean, it's like he's got no competition. I mean, those numbers that he had last year at Duke, okay, that's ACC stats right there, man. I mean, that's what he should be doing, especially with this schedule. So I think Sorsby and Mensah, what they make up, what they get in wins and, probably conference championship appearances and playoff appearances, I think the lack of toughness to their schedule will eventually hurt both of those guys. One may get invited to New York, but I would not back either of them.
Okay. Your boy going to Lane Kiffin here. We got Sam Levitt going to LSU. He is at plus 1,600, starting to get up a little bit. Peter, we'll start with you, Mr. Levitt.
Oh, you just kind of said it, Lane, man. This is all about Lane. I mean, this is going to be interesting, right? I mean, so we're rather high in LSU. Darren and I are. We talked about it at the Natty Show. I mean, yeah, and you can't be high on LSU without being high on Sam. Right? You're expecting Sam to step up and have a really good year, which I think he will. I mean, he's coming into a better environment for him. Obviously, SEC spotlight. He's got, I mean, if you had to pick an offensive coach to go play for as a quarterback, top 3, I mean, Lane's in the top 3. I mean, who else would you want to go play for? He's going to give you opportunities to showcase, to light it up, to score points, to look like a stud. And Sam's going to get those opportunities all year long. He's going to get those opportunities against top shelf competition. Now, that's where the issue comes, right? The only big concern with him, because I do like Sam a lot here, is that obviously in the SEC, there's some significant competition that they have to deal with, right? I mean, on the field, clearly with the teams they're playing, but also, once again, we talked about in the same conference, you've got somebody like Arch out there, right? So can you win the Heisman if one of the other quarterbacks, to say Arch, in your conference has a stellar year? The answer is no, right? You can't win the Heisman out of the SEC unless Arch steps back. Simple as that, because you're not going to surpass him in votes unless he steps back. That is an issue for any quarterback in the SEC without Arch stepping back. But let's say that if that happens, I think Sam's going to have a phenomenal year. I think LSU is going to have a phenomenal year. Absolute national championship threat for sure. And I think it's going to be fun as heck to watch. We mentioned the Ole Miss game. That's going to be, I think they're going to break out a flamethrower to Ole Miss. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to watch. But I think this is interesting. I think there's certainly an opportunity here. You just need other things to happen that are out of Sam's control to some degree. And that's just kind of the name of the game here. So, but love the guy.
Darren.
Yeah, I this was initially going to be my bet, but then I realized, wow, we'd be 2 futures preview shows in and all my money would be on LSU. So I didn't want that. But a few things do concern me. Obviously, is he healthy? He only played half a season last year, so he needs to be healthy. I think the system he's in, I think he's perfect. I mean, we talked about Trinidad Chambliss and Jackson Dart, how well they thrived under Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss. Well, guess who's the same type of quarterback? Yeah, this dude here in purple. So I'm not worried about him succeeding. I'm worried about him being healthy. I'm worried about the receiver core. All the wide receivers from last year's team that came back combined for 1 pass reception. That's not a lot, by the way. That's only 1 more than the 3 of us put together. So he's got to gel with this receiver core right away. We talked about it when Pete and I made the bet. It's like, I don't really like them starting off against Clemson. I don't think Clemson's great, but not the defense you want to try and work some things out on offensively. So I worry about the new receiving core. I worry a little bit about his health. I did like the 16-1. And like Pete said it, if that comes together and that offense comes together sooner rather than later, yeah, this dude will be in New York. and hopefully he'll be in the playoff as well. So, I did end up rolling with Dante Moore, but Sam Levitt was initially one of the last two, and he was the one I kicked off. But
Okay. All right. Now we got some real long shots. These are my favorites. I love like these Hail Marys, these he's hoes. We're gonna start out with my guy from last year. 4,000. I got him last year. Now it's down to 2,700. Talking about Marcel Reed, Texas A&M. Some of the pros to him. Actually, he's in the SEC, so he's going to have a tough competition every week.
Let me get ready for you.
Oh, there we go.
There we
go. There's my guy. If he starts out quick, he's actually a true dual threat. He can run, he can pass. He's also tough. He's took a lot of hits, and y'all see the commentators. Is he going to come out of the game? Never really did. He's missed very minimal, maybe one or two plays, but he's a tough kid. Your greatest ability is availability. So he's going to be out there plus 2,700. If he starts out hot, he can keep it running. The only thing is that he needs to start fast. If he doesn't start fast, he's going to fall behind all the flashy guys up at the top. But he can, if he starts out fast, he can hold with them the rest of the year, and maybe he can get in there, invited to New York. And thoughts, Darren? Nice hat.
Thank you. Yeah, Pete and I had a slight disagreement on Texas A&M. We broke him down a couple weeks ago. He's a little more bullish on them than I am. I like Marcel Reed, but he's one of those quarterbacks that, against the teams that he was supposed to perform, he did. Against the teams that were a little bit tougher, he did not. He had 3 points against Miami at home in the playoff. I mean, that needs to improve. Craver stayed. That dude's ridiculous. So that's certainly going to help him. But he did lose Concepcion. He'll be going to the NFL. That hurts a little bit, but that's a brutal environment to play in. But yeah, I mean, he's like some other guys we mentioned. He's got to step up in the big games. And if he does that, this is an excellent bet. I'm sorry you didn't get your 40-1 like you got last year, but don't hate it. Not a big fan of the team, but a fan of him. So yeah, I will still wear the hat for you every time he's got a big game.
All right, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot of it, right? This is a major dual threat quarterback, monster potential, especially from the usage, right? They're going to use the heck out of their offense runs through Marcel, right? And that is to his advantage, right? If this team can be good enough, if they can win 10 games, if they can make the playoff, if they can just be highly competitive, it's going to be because of him, right? And he is going to get that spotlight, which he should get. I mean, this is, a breakout candidate potentially. And once again, it's a long shot, but absolutely a breakout candidate. I mean, I would expect something like potentially 40 plus total TDs, maybe 3,500 passing yards. I mean, he should have a freaking monster year. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, I think Darren brought up a point. Performance in the games where he needs to perform. That could hurt him, right? If he, in some of these big games, if he underperforms, if he looks like he's truly struggling, if he looks like he can't read the defenses, which could be a concern, things of that nature, that could be a problem. But okay, so that was an aberration. If he improves off of that, if he truly, is, the offense running through him, if the team is competitive all the way through, if they win 10 plus games, I think he's a finalist, and I think he'll be in New York, and I think he should be because he's that good of a talent. Will his team let him down? Will the SEC be a problem, et cetera, et cetera? I don't know. Could be. But I do think he will grow, and I do think that I think he'll stand out. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I like the fact that they got Texas at home this year. So they walked to a buzzsaw last year. Any final thoughts on Marcel? I'll take that as a no. Let's move on. Our next one. So, all right, here's another long shot. We got John Mateer, Oklahoma quarterback, plus 3,500. Who's got this one? Is that you, Pete?
That's me. That is my lean. Oklahoma, I was pretty warm on last year, and I am again this year. I think once again another dual threat guy who was injured last year, so that was a bit of a problem. So assuming that he has healed, right, and he is himself, which I expect we will see, he definitely is a dual threat potential. I think that with the system, with the coaching, I think Oklahoma performed quite well last year, especially some big games, which which was a very positive thing. So returning production will help him for sure. And I think there's a narrative arc for him, like somebody who was injured, was down, kind of evolves, comes back. And, if he can have a stellar year, and especially if Oklahoma has a really good year, now obviously if he's leading that, there's a narrative there that could play well for the Heisman, that I could see. So that would be interesting. So there's kind of a little bit of backstory there to it. And I think it could play pretty well. Now, obviously, it does depend on Oklahoma performing well and some of these games that they're going to have to shine in, which is going to be challenging. There is the late season visibility. Darren talked about it earlier, right? Having late season visibility while you're in the SEC, having that visibility late. Yeah, that's a two-edged sword. Visibility, if you're playing well, winning, it's good. If you're not, that's a problem, right? And so the opportunity will be there, I believe, for Oklahoma and for Mateer. The question is, can they grab that opportunity? I tend to think it's possible. So I think it is a potential classic SEC breakout bet here. So if Oklahoma pops, then I think he's going to pop with them. So that would be pretty interesting. So that's my thoughts.
Any thoughts, Darren? I want to get onto your pick.
No, I love this pick, man. He's definitely got the schedule to get it done, and he was playing at a pretty high level before he got hurt. But I mean, Pete had mentioned the game. I mean, they have Michigan and Georgia, I believe, 2 of their first 4 games. So obviously he's going to get a chance to get off to a hot start. And back-to-back weekends in November, they've got Ole Miss and A&M. So I mean, he can definitely get a jump start on his. His campaign to win this, and he can certainly reinforce it with a couple big games late. I love this pick. Or actually, you didn't bet it, but I love this lean. So yeah, if you're feeling sassy, want to throw a quarter or a half unit down on this,
why not?
I'm backing you. I'll buy an Oklahoma hat next just for Pete because I really like that.
There we go. All right, now we've got Darren's long shot lean here. Damon Williams, Washington
Are these
QB.
like projections? Because if I'm telling you right now, if Damon Williams throws 78 touchdowns to 8 picks, he's winning this award. So I'm not sure where those stats are.
Well, that would be a slip of the keyboard there.
I noticed John Mateer had like 87 touchdowns. I'm like, well, shit, I'm just going to throw my bet in the trash because if John Mateer throws 87 touchdowns, I'm betting right after we go off the air.
Did I really do that? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
That was the reason for my bet. I saw the 87 I was in. So
I mean, I thought I had it locked with 78 to 8. That's a heck of a TD to pick ratio, but apparently I'm going to lose here. Yeah, this is my long shot lean here. If you're feeling extra sassy and Mateer's not crazy enough for you, might I suggest Damon Williams at plus 5,500? First of all, you can say, I mean, is he a crap person? I don't know. Dude just out of the blue decided he was going to transfer, found out he was going to get sued into oblivion, decided, I'm just going to stay at Washington, and came out with an announcement when they were another athlete who passed away. They were having a celebration of life. So, yeah, total dick. Fine. I get that. Chalked it up to bad advice. Whether that's true, probably not. Don't really care. Bottom line is if anybody's got a chip on their shoulder and needs to make people forget about their offseason, it's this guy right here. We saw him in that bowl game against Louisville a couple years ago. We saw what he is capable of. This dude is electric. And again, he's got that November schedule that everybody loves. November 7th, Penn State. November 21st, Indiana. November 28th, at Oregon. Throw in an early October game against USC. If their defense is ass, this dude might get the 78 touchdown passes. Who knows? But
that would lock it up.
I think not if Mateer throws 87 because, he's playing in the SEC. That would be incredibly impressive and he should win. But yeah, again, not a bet, but if you want to throw something ridiculous out there, I don't think this is that ridiculous. I mean, he's I mean, this is at least an 8-win team. I mean, if he could pull off 1 or 2 of these other games, a 10-2 Washington team, because this guy's going to lead it. I mean, he lost Coleman and his top wide receiver, whose name is escaping me. So thank you. But But yeah, I mean, if somebody capable comes in to fill those two guys' spots at those skill positions, this guy's worth a look because he's yeah, after his offseason, he's going to be out to shut some people up. So my lean.
Excellent. All right, I think that's put our picks up here on the board. If you would like, if you want to know who you think is going to take the Heisman, leave it in the comments section. We'd like to hear from you. Let's wrap up with our picks. I've got Dante Moore at plus 1,200, and I got a half unit on Marcel Reed at plus 2,700 for my long shot. Peter.
Yeah, I have Marcel Reed at plus 2,500 for my bet, and I have my long shot lean on John Mateer at plus 3,500.
And D.
Yep, I got the 12-1 just like Tim, except I only go a half unit here on Dante Moore, and my lean for the crazy and mentally insane, which I am one, but no, not an official bet here, but a lean Damon Williams 55-1.
All right. Well, last show we did our national championship. This is our Heisman show. Starting with our next show in a couple weeks, we're going to start doing our conference breakdowns, and we are starting with America's dumpster fire. We got the Big 12. That's always a fun conference to preview. We're going to break these up into two since every conference has like 30 teams in it now. So if you have a pick for Big 12, leave that in. So let us know what you're thinking. We're going to get to that next time. So thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. We picked up some subscribers at our last show. So thank you all that are joining the party here. We appreciate it. Don't forget to share this with your friends. And if you don't like it, share it with your enemies. So there you go. Thank you all for listening. And we will talk to you later. Have a good one.